not every day that you have the opportunity to sit down and talk about your feelings with a professional hockey player and an award-winning singer-songwriter. Our next guests have joined forces to help men explore their emotions through their new podcast, How Men Think. Please welcome Brooks Laich to our home and Gavin DeGraw. Welcome, fellas. Well, I'll tell you what, we are having so much fun even before the actual segment started.
I was enjoying it. Yeah.
And you two are like old friends. But
We are.
The truth is, you didn't even know each other before you got together to do this podcast. How did this all come together?
I'd been talking to iHeartRadio about doing a podcast for probably about 6 months. And our producer there, we were trying to figure out what the concept would be, and I wanted to do something that was going to level up young men.
Okay.
That was my passion. And then she asked me if I had ever met Gavin DeGraw, and I said no. I was a huge fan of his music.
He's lying.
Massive fan of his music.
Lying.
But I'd never met him personally. And then we literally met 5 minutes before we recorded our first podcast.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
It honestly just hit off. It was like a first date.
It was.
And it went well.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was awesome. Well, when I walked in, he's very disarming because he's such a nice guy. You know what I mean? Just a good-natured, nice man. And he was like, "Hey, I heard so many good things about you," which are probably lies.
No,
And I was like, "Oh, that's so nice," you know. Exactly. I knew his wife. I knew his brother-in-law.
We love and know
Exactly. So we knew some of the same people already. And he started off in the most amazing way. And I find that the older I get, the more I like gentlemen. You know what I mean?
Right,
The more
it's
I
so
appreciate a
true.
gentleman.
Yes.
And Brooks is a total gentleman.
That's right.
My buddy.
You really are, man. You're
My buddy.
He's a real gentleman, you know? When you're a kid, at least when I was a kid, I kind of celebrated the macho thing. You know what I
Right.
mean? I'm not a kid anymore. I like being around gentlemen.
Right. I feel like you should write a song about
He
that.
really is a gentleman.
Yeah,
I
you
will.
definitely
I will write
should.
that
And
down.
give me all the credit. I'm kidding. All right, so this podcast, you two have really set out to sort of help men explore their emotions and get to the root of their issues. You know, just in my own personal experience, men usually aren't really excited about talking about their emotions and their feelings.
Yeah.
You don't say.
So how is this going? Why is this so important to you guys?
For me, it was, I spent my life in professional locker rooms, and there would be stuff go on, and something would all of a sudden blow up on a team or with an individual, and all of a sudden you'd be like, I wasn't aware that this guy was dealing with anything.
Right.
Or maybe it was myself. For 10 years before I met my wife, I was very cold. I just stuffed every emotion and tried to process it myself.
Right.
Didn't look for any help, never felt I had a safe place to discuss it. And that's what we want to do with this platform. We're not professing to be experts in any area. We just want to create a safe place to have high-level conversations. Gavin mixes in a lot of humor. But just try and have a place.
Serious.
What?
Just try and have a place where guys can talk about stuff. I think we're all going through stuff. I found that out, that we all have insecurities and
Absolutely.
issues that we're all going through. And just when somebody opens up about it, it kind of lays the weapons down. And the other guy says, "Oh, thank God you said that, because I'm dealing with this too."
Exactly.
It's been really powerful so far.
I like hearing what they have to say that they feel bad about, because then I can weaponize it and hold it. You know, but
Wow,
hey,
that's
remember that
nice.
time that you
Right, that's
know.
really nice. That's a
Yeah,
nice
yeah.
thing to do as a
Exactly.
friend.
I like to do that.
No, but
particularly when they come in feeling low.
I think it really allows and gives, I know you're kidding, it gives guys the permission to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, because I think
Exactly.
being a gentleman and being chivalrous, you also have to be in touch with your emotions. And I love that, because you guys are bringing chivalry back, and it's very important in this day and age. So having said that,
Yes.
you know, you talk about your insecurities and other men's insecurities. You know, your lovely wife, Julianne, has helped you open up and become more in touch with your emotional side, even
And
though
she's been on the show.
she's wonderful.
She came on our show. It was amazing.
Oh,
She
I
did a
bet.
segment with us. It was really great.
Now, although you are not married, you are also very candid on the show about your
A
emotions.
little too much.
No, we really like it. It's good. I'd like to know what has been the thing that you shared, both of you shared, that has been your biggest insecurity on the show.
I shared, this was a couple shows ago, I played professional sports for 15 years. And that was 3 times longer than the average NHL hockey career.
Really? So that's only 5 years usually?
5 years is the average career. I played for 15.
Wow.
And I sometimes still look at my career as a failure because I didn't win a Stanley Cup. So my whole life I geared my whole life towards winning a Stanley Cup, to being a champion. And it's a team sport, it's not an individual sport. I wasn't able to do so. And so there are some days where I wake up and I have a lot of bitterness and resentment towards my career and look at it as a massive failure that I spent my whole life pursuing something and failed at it. Now, I have great days when I wake up with a lot of gratitude and say, I got to play the game that I love and express myself through a sport for 35 years. But it's still that it's an issue that I deal with, and outwardly people might say you had a very successful career, but
more successful than most.
yeah, then hopefully. But it's still something that I look at. Maybe there is failure in my career, and just opening that platform, voicing that, maybe I hope disarms guys that you don't have to be bravado, and you can still be a man, but you can also say, yeah, I do have some things in my life that have maybe hurt me, but I want to talk about it, work through it, so that I'm not held captive to this emotion the rest of my life.
And by voicing it, it gives it less power.
Yeah.
It takes the power completely away from it and back into your hands. What about you, Gavin?
I mean, I think that there's a lot of similarities with sports and with entertainment, other types of entertainment, the arts even, music. I mean, just because age is a factor, even though I don't play sports, what I do is also affected by age as far as marketing and things like that. And, you're not going to be marketed towards tweens anymore, right? I'm 42, so I'll tell everyone I'm 22 as long as I can.
Right, well,
but,
you have a baby face.
That all ends, when I shave, I get right back down to 41. So, but you realize that their age is a factor almost in any type of job that you're doing where you're entertaining, and even though I'm not an athlete and my body isn't telling me some things in some ways because I don't push it to that limit, I know that there's a difference in how things are marketed and who's going to be receptive to it and things like that. And so that's an insecurity for me. And also my teeth are crooked.
See, and this is where you bring the levity. You guys have serious conversations on this podcast.
I lost my front four, so I don't have big teeth either.
We're like related now.
bad teeth,
That's right. When you take them out, we can really be closer,
I mean, you two really get along like a house on fire. This could not have been a bad marriage.
We get on great.
Listen, thank you so much for all that you are doing
Thank
to help
you.
all of the young men in the world become gentlemen. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thanks for having us. You're awesome.
And if this doesn't work out, you should take it on the road.
We should.
Stand up.
I'm into it.
Because
You got to pay for the fuel, though.
How Men Think is available now on the iHeart app and anywhere you listen to your podcast.